All right, yo. Sorry, we back. I think it was a copyright issue or something with that last song there, so it shut down our stream. All good. We are back in business. Uh, Waves. I don't know how far I got in there before it cut off. I felt like everything sounded really good. There was just a frequency at like 9500 of a hi hat that was kind of a little aggressive for me. And then like a tiny boost at like 85 hertz at the kick to try to get it to poke through just like a tiny bit more. But it was like a half dB, nothing crazy. Everything sounded really, really good. Would like to see like a cool ending to that piece, but yeah, sequencing, all that sounded amazing. Also nice to get some electronic vibes on the stream. Um, so yeah, let's move on. Next one up is Pyro Malik. Same thing on Instagram handle, Pyro Malik. If you are in the chat, please throw a thumbs up or let us know that you are here. We'll give you a couple seconds to do so. And then if you're not here, we'll just move on. Boom, 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 boom. Everybody, you can keep submitting if you want. We take submissions at 4 p.m. That's when we start taking them. There's a good amount of submissions in already, so you can submit now. If these people aren't in the chat, we skip through the list, so we might get to you. If you're trying to be heard, try to submit as close to start time as possible, as a lot of people submit. Pyro, I see you in there. You're looking for overall feedback and feeling of the record. Let's see. And this is called Rare Condition. Yeah. I'm just downloading this for Pro Tools, and then we'll play this from the top for you. All right. And Pyro, are you the engineer on here? Artist, or let us know. I can't tell if Justin Williams is the artist or the engineer. But yeah, let us know. LP, yes, you are too late again. We called you earlier, just like last week, but you were not here. So yeah, when you submit, make sure you pull up right on time. Artist and engineer. Okay, perfect. Let's play this one from the top and give some feedback.
Yeah. Check. She know I love breakfast in bed and head after breakfast. If you come out on top, then you can keep all the extras. You know me, I get to talking reckless on records when them blocks came. Stacked them all up like it's Tetris. Even got a drink plug that stay out in Texas. If I need it, I just send a thumbs up in the message. I'm a Grady baby, but I'm from the north side. Hope they don't try it. Wish a nigga would, like I'm sitting courtside. You know we broke it down. I sold a lot of zips. These bullets will break the legs of a how to miss. Sold a lot of flowers like a botanist. Ain't no stopping this when I say fuck you bitches. I'm not misogynist, cause it's really for the niggas switching up the politics. I talk a lot of shit, but I can back it up. Not one of them rapping about packs and never bagged it up. A man that don't take care of his kids, really sad as fuck. Me falling off, well that's probably a rare condition. I used to ride the hoopty, now my seats got air condition. I'm on the mission, figured I'd run this marathon at my own pace. Like a James Harden step back, I made my own space. Hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh. From right to left. Hey, oh, hey, oh, yeah. Hey, oh, hey, oh. From right to left. I see you suckers trying to watch me, wanna block me. They don't know a red octagon couldn't stop me. They wanna copy, but moving sloppy. Sylvester Stallone, my chick finger, man, that means I left it rocky. They claim they're making noise, but that sounds strange. Candle by the doors, vacuum seals when them pounds came. Come on. You know how we do it. Bits, zips, halves, man, you know how we move it. Yeah, the mad scientist, everything is calculated. Put the nickels on the scale when it's time to calibrate it. They fascinated, and honestly, they should be. You gotta respect the hustle and time it took me. It don't matter if they knew about it, I'm true about it. Regardless if they like it or not, it ain't nothing that you can do about it. Sit back, relax, this is God's work. I'ma count this money till my hands and eyes hurt. Pyro!
So yeah, song's cool. I like like the homage to the old records and stuff. The whole beat is just drums. So without having like an instrument piece and stuff, I feel like you have to get creative with the sequencing of the drums, like little drops or take the hi-hat out here or there or like whatever it is. I feel like because the beat just plays the same way all the way through and there's no like musical elements, it gets kind of monotonous after a little while. I think the raps, everything's cool. And the hook I like too. I just think it just comes in like without having a beat drop or like something changing in the beat. It just carries on. So it's like it doesn't give the impact of like the hook is its own thing and like a moment leading up to that. It kind of just happens. Um, so yeah, I would probably try to play with some post production on the song, whether you add musical elements and spots or not, or if you just mess with the sequencing or taking little drums out here and there to accent maybe some of the bars that are being said, and then having some sort of separation in the beat to where when the hook comes in, it feels like something's ending and then the hook's starting. Because right now it just sounds like you're rapping and then it just goes into this piece and then you're rapping again. Like there's no up and down of it. So I think it could benefit from that. From a mix standpoint, the drums felt like they could poke a little bit more, like be a little more present. This is for the kick. It's like 72 hertz or so to poke through, but I think the snare could even come through a little bit. On the vocals, they were feeling a little boxy to me. This frequency right here, it's like a A sharp, 467 hertz or so. I ducked this 3 dB with the dynamic EQ, so that like it only ducks when that frequency goes above a certain threshold. But this sounded like it cleaned up that frequency I was hearing. This one and then this little there's another frequency in the vocal here at the C sharp at like 4400 or so. That was standing out to me a little bit in certain lines. So I did dynamic EQ here as well, and that kind of cleaned that up. With this right here, I feel like the vocals were sitting pretty well. Just kind of want some more punchiness out of the drums, and then yeah, just play with the arrangement of the production, or even add some production to try to make certain sections feel different than others. But yeah, otherwise I think it's cool. Rapping was cool. I like the hey ho. I like all that. That's cool. It's like a nostalgic vibe for me. So super tight. I just think you could add some production to kind of like make those moments, and then clean up the mix like a little bit. But overall, great job. Uh, Anybody in the chat that has any notes, just throw them out there, um, and we can relay them. Also, throw your socials and all that in here in case people want to hit you up outside of here, link up, collab, shoot the shit, whatever it is. Um, Waves, I see you in there. It comes out in a couple weeks. I see, man, they're super on that. That was pretty crazy. Yeah, so copyright stuff for that on the Waves, but that's pretty crazy that Sony's that quick. Like that was normally you post something on YouTube and it like lives there for some days and then they're like, you got to take this down. They was not having it. All right, let's move on to next one on the list. The next one on our list is Andreas. Instagram handle is Sunraker. Throw a thumbs up in the chat if you are here, Andreas or Sunraker, and we'll give you a couple seconds to shoot a thumbs up. Hopefully you're here. If not, we'll move on. Oh, I see you on IG. Cool, cool, cool. All right, so you're looking for mixed feedback, overall sound, dynamics, vocals. Let's download this, throw this in Pro Tools. Looks like it's called Siberia 06. So yeah, now that we know Warewave's song comes out in a couple weeks on Sony, definitely go check that out when it drops. If you were fucking with that, it was a nice electronic vibe. I was feeling that one. All right, cool. All right, so this is Sunraker, Siberia 06. Let's play from the top. was Sunraker. Song's tight. Um, Also refreshing to get some rock genre stuff on here, as like mixes for rock songs are a lot different than like R&B or hip hop, anything that's kind of bass heavy. Um, I like the song. I felt like the vocals were a little loud for this genre. Normally in this genre, the guitars are usually like the most upfront thing. I do like the punchiness of the drums, but in this genre, when the drums they're always punchy and they're a little bit lower. I feel like they could probably punch just like a tiny bit more on the kick. So I did this little boost at 84 hertz on the kick, to see if that could poke through a little bit, and then the low end, even though this type of music isn't bass heavy and it doesn't need to be the forefront. I feel like this little boost in the sub range kind of helps balance the overall frequency spectrum out. You can see in the spectrum that there's like this little poke at this D uh, note right here, this 2300 hertz or so. So I pulled this out dynamically. Um, it's just sticking out above the other frequencies. So I feel like if you tame that a little bit, and then maybe bring the vocals down a little bit. And then one thing I was hearing in the vocals was this 725 hertz frequency in the vocal was pretty prevalent. Um, it makes it feel like the vocals are a little bit fatter, which isn't a bad thing, but for this particular mix, it sounds like the vocals are because they're a little bit fatter. It sounds like they're kind of on top and covering the guitar and some of the sounds. So I would probably try to pull some of this out. The song itself is good. I really like the song. I felt like the performance was good, delivery was good. There's climactic moments and lower moments. I like all that. For me, it was really just mixed notes. And this is what I was hearing. I feel like with the guitar being the main focus, that main guitar that plays could, like when the vocals aren't there, it sounds like it's kind of like in the forefront, like I would expect it to be. I tried to add this little like boost to the sides because that guitar is very stereo, to see if it brought it out a little bit. It might have a little bit, but yeah, maybe try playing with figuring out how to get that guitar to kind of stick out a little bit more. I think carving some of this out of the vocal and lowering the vocal is probably going to do a lot of that lifting for you. But if it's still to where the guitar isn't quite poking through as much, you could try turning it up a little bit, or maybe messing with like a saturation plug in parallel that's like super low mix in there, just to kind of get that tiny bit of separation without losing your balance, or the tone of the guitar, because I think it all sounds good. But yeah, otherwise sounded great. Anybody in the chat, I know you guys have been firing off your notes and stuff to them. But also post your Sunraker, post your socials and everything, for everybody, in case they want to collab with you or just check out music in general. But yeah, great job. It's really nice to get all these different genres coming in for us to review. I know sometimes it's a hip hop driven world these days, so which I love, but it's also good to get some other things in there, for us to review, especially with the different genres. There's different styles of mixing and what things are forward and back, and push back. So super cool. All right, so let's move on to the next one. I'm gonna go a little bit longer. I know we had a pause in the stream and everything, so I'm just gonna go a little bit longer. We'll try to get 3 in, but we'll do at least 2 more. Next on the list is Upper Downer. Instagram handle is Upper Downer. If you're in the chat, throw a thumbs up or let us know that you're here, so we can review the song. If not, we'll just move on to the next person. But yeah. I see Pro Sonic, you said needs more punch in the lows and a little bit more air. I agree in the punch in the lows. That's why I had that in there. As far as the air goes, you might be able to get away with I think I even, in that song, I boosted like the 40 hertz band on the mag, like a half dB, and it sounded good. So you're right on the air. I don't think you need to overdo the air too much. I think once the vocals get put into place, whatever your processing is on the master bus and stuff is gonna it's gonna react differently to it. So I'd probably go that route first, and then yeah, I did have a mag EQ at the 40 hertz, 40 kilohertz band, at like 0.5, and for air, I'm always using the mag EQ for me. I used to use when the black box like first came out on like the plug-in version. I used to use that air knob a lot, but when I compare the two, it sounds like the mag just is a little bit more smooth. I like what the black box does, but if the material is already kind of bright, it tends to feel a little harsher to me than the mag. So I usually stick with the mag, but either one of those works. All right. All right. So I don't see a thumbs up from Upper Downer. Upper Downer. Next one up after that is Robert Casey or Rob G317 on Instagram. Um, throw your thumbs up in the chat. Let us know that you're here so we can review. If not, we'll move on to the next one. Kemya, I see you joined. Good to see you back this week. Dun, dun, dun. All right, Rob. I see Rob. All right, so Rob is a producer, music shows, podcast for iHeart, and an audio engineer. Went to Full Sail. Just wanted some feedback. Did this track 15 minutes ago. All right, nice. We got a little speed run today. It's called Cool Whip. So let's just load this up into Pro Tools. So it says tape and vinyl master. Are you using a real tape machine? Let us know in the chat. Yeah, the beats dope. I love this. This is one of my favorite songs of all time from the old school records. So super fire sample. Um yeah, I think for me it's obviously you said you just did this 15 minutes ago, so just a beat, all that. I feel like the drums, like I want the drums to punch more and be more in your face, and also kind of maintain like the like patented hip hop dirtiness there. Um to do that, I usually use a lo-fi. If you're in Pro Tools and you don't know about this plug, definitely get familiar. If you're not in Pro Tools, you can't even use this plug, so you have to find something else or switch to Pro Tools. But um, yeah, I use this lo-fi on a lot of my kicks or snares or drum buses sometimes, sometimes even on bass, just depends. But it adds like this cool distortion to kind of make anything cut through, but it does it in a way that like feels real hip hop to me. Like If you got like some dusty MPC drums and stuff, this will bring it out, but you don't lose the dustiness. It like doesn't get too clean. So I really like this plug. I put it on obviously the whole beat, but I would just do this on your drums somewhere. Um, I use this a lot in a lot of my mixes, but the I did the West Side Boogie album, and this is on a lot of the kicks and things in the West Side Boogie album, um, the More Black Superheroes album. And then the only other thing I was hearing was the music could be a little bit wider so that the drums have their own space and the music has its own space. And then when that high, like, I don't even know what to call that, but that high like siren kind of sound that just ascends. It's pretty loud and it's a little piercing in this 2500 5K range. I'll try to pull some out just by pulling the sides out, but it's not completely just in the sides, so it still kind of pokes a little too much. That part's a little harsh, especially when you throw vocals in there. You'll see like they're gonna get buried underneath that sound, so I'd probably just mess with that. But as far as like the production and stuff goes, I like the basis of the beat. I mean, without lyrics and too much sequencing and stuff going on, the idea of the beat is super fire. I think now it's just about doing little stuff to tighten up the mix a little bit, and then obviously creating a song to it. And you'll probably have to deal with arrangement and changing things out once you kind of see how the song unfolds. But overall, super fire. Quick little 15-minute speed run beat. I fucks with it. I fucks with it. Also, throw up your socials in the chat so people can reach out to you, especially if you're making beats. I'm sure there's a um, bunch of people here that would want to collaborate with some shit like that. Yeah, Rob, I know it's loud on the original record too. The thing is, like with the original stuff, especially back then, like the loudness wars don't exist, so you can kind of get away with a little bit more, especially everything being in the analog realm. Um, the thing is, like when you go and sample something from back then and now it's put into like your digital stuff, which I don't know. I know it said that you might have used the tape machine and stuff, but yeah, when it gets flipped, sometimes that stuff just comes off a little bit more harsher. When we play it back in like a digital system, it sounds a little less warm because of it not being an analog rig. Um, but yeah, otherwise I think it sounded great. You're right that that sound is loud. Um, but also in the original song, when that sound comes in, there isn't really any vocals or anything going on. So keep that in mind. Also, if your song gets done and there's no vocals there, then you probably get away with a little bit more on that sound. All right, so let's move on to the next one. We'll do two more before we call it a day. Next one on the list is Sebastian. Instagram handle Derek Bush 14. Give us a thumbs up or let us know you're in the chat. Um, if you're here, let us know. If not, we'll move on to the next person on the list. Yeah, and hit Rob says he mixes a lot of LA people. So get in touch with Rob if you're fucking with the mixes. Um, and hopefully y'all can collab and make some dope shit. Make some fire shit. All right, so I have not heard. So we'll move on to the next one. Mikkel, official Mikkel. Throw a thumbs up. Let us know you're in the chat. Whether you're on YouTube or Twitch or IG, let us know. We'll give you a couple seconds. I know there's a little delay for me to use, so give it a couple seconds. All right. Not seeing a response from Mikkel. The next one in line is Young Arts. It's Young Arts is the IG handle. Let us know you're in the chat so we can review. If not, we will move on. Sebastian, I see you hitting there a little late. We'll run yours real quick right now since you're here now, and then we'll do one more after this. All right, so Sebastian, you produced this. Um, you were speaking French, English, and Spanish, which is incredible. Good job. Uh, how can I evolve and really hit the open at the end? Okay, let's check it out. I'm gonna just download this and throw it in Pro Tools. Damn, you in here speaking 3 languages on a record. That's pretty incredible. That's fire. Dun, 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 dun. All right, let's pull this in. All right, bet. Let's play this one from the top. Let's make sure this pro.
I'm the man, keep 100 bands in my fucking band. He a bitch, talking shit and then he fucking ran. And his bars are so damn whack, like he fucking racing brand. And I pull up with the beer in a motherfucking can. I'm so god. To the right, put my hand to the left, then you jiggle, 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 and you hit that shit. Elle dit que j'ai un flow de street. J'ai dit la vérité, je suis pas dans l'intrigue. Ouais, ça l'a mis en main, ami valentine. Regardez dans la miroir, Dieu m'a dit, il va toucher l'amour. I got the new bag, I got a new bag. She's got a new bag fit, she's so bad. Trying to cop everything you got glass.
All right, so I don't know where to start with this one for you, Derek. It is very. I mean, it sounds like the recording is not very good in general as far as the vocals go. It just sounds like Loki sounds like it's on like a broken mic, to be honest. But either way, the like all this up here is just all you hear is just high pitch like harsh noises. So let's solo this. Like all that's really harsh.
I'm the man. Keep 100 bands in my fucking band. He a bitch, talking shit and then he fucking whack like he fucking racing brand. And I'm the man. Keep 100 bands in my fucking band. He a bitch, talking shit and then he fucking.
So yeah, even, I mean, I pulled this out. What is this, like 7 dB? And it's like more like I can listen to it more. When it first came on, I almost wanted to turn it off because it hurts my ears, and I need to mix later, so I was kind of worried there for a second. But even when I pull this out, like you can still hear the distortion in the vocals, and it sounds like it could just be from like what you're recording into. If you have a distortion plugin on there, then you're pushing it way too hard. There's like a way to like do the distorted sound, but still have it sound smooth and clean on the ears at least. So yeah, there's a lot of work that needs to be done with this one to just pinpoint one thing, but I would say maybe focus on whatever your recording setup is. Make sure like your recording setup is as good as possible. Even if you can't record on like the best mic or whatever it is, just make sure your levels are good. So common mistake that I see with like people that either record themselves and don't really have an engineer or somebody that they know, they'll get like the 2-track beat and it'll already be like squashed and limited and super loud, and they'll try to record to the beat as is when there's already no more headroom to record to. So then you end up turning up your mic or your preamp or your compressor or whatever it is that you're recording into, and you're just recording in a bunch of distortion because you're clipping because there's no room for you to be there. So if you're getting 2 tracks to record to, definitely make sure you have headroom before you record. I would pull down my 2-track starting at 10 dB to give me space to record a vocal, and then whenever the song's done, you can go back and get beat stems and things like that, and kind of re-level the mix out and do everything you need. But you're gonna need headroom in general because you're gonna have your recording stage, and you're gonna have your mixing stage, and then you're gonna have your mastering stage. And if you have no headroom before you even start recording, there's nothing else for anybody else to do. It's already been maxed out. So pull down the 2 tracks so you have more space. This will allow you to have a mic level. Me personally, if I were you, I would get a good mic level without the beat playing first, and see what level sounds best with your voice. But If you're in Pro Tools recording, you're gonna want your vocal to be hitting like right around where the green meets the yellow to make sure that you don't have any distortion or anything like that. And then bring the 2-track beat, like keep clip gaining that down or bringing the volume fader down on that until it matches where your vocal sounded good at, and then start recording your record and doing your record from there. Um, yeah, I know you were saying you speak multiple languages on here and stuff, but it's really hard to understand anything in the record. So maybe try to go back, re-record this if that's the case, or if you just have some sort of crazy plugins and things like that going on that are just doing way too much. Strip all of that off, clean this up, and then yeah, come back and submit, and let's we could probably get into like the song a little bit more. Um, but for right now, I feel like you need to just fix your recording setup, make sure all your signals, everything's coming in clean. From a production standpoint, make sure you're selecting the right sounds or your producers are selecting the right sounds, things like that, just to ensure you set yourself up for success when you actually record the song. Um, but yeah, super common with people that are recording themselves at home and don't have maybe you're just starting out, or you don't have like a musical background quite yet. Um, I see it all the time. People just get a beat and then they try to figure out how to make themselves loud enough to be heard over that beat, but the not knowing that the beat already took up all the headroom. So most producers are gonna squash their beats and put limiters on them and stuff so that when people play them, they sound louder, as loud as everybody else's. If they're if that artist is listening to multiple producers at one time, they don't want to be the quiet one. So just keep that in mind when you're using 2 tracks when you go into recording. All right, so let's do one more. Next on the list. Okay, next on the list is Tay Fetty, Tay.Fetty on IG. Throw a thumbs up if you're in the IG, or if you're in YouTube or Twitch. Let us know you're in the chat. Give you a couple seconds to let us know. If not, we'll move on to the next one. But yeah. Anyways, what else is going on while we wait? Everybody saw that Tory Lanez news? Yeah, I like the name too. Tay Fetty is fire. Let us know if you're in the chat, Tay Fetty. We'll give it a couple more seconds. Vince said, free the guy. Yeah, free the guy. I assume you're talking about Tory. Yep. Yeah, I said his injuries wasn't critical, so that's good. That's good. All right, I don't see Tay Fetty in here. Next one up is JC the God, JC underscore the God on IG. If you're in the chat, throw a thumbs up or let us know that you're in the chat, and we will review. If not, we'll move on. JC the God. All right. I don't see JC, so I'm gonna move on. Next one is Bryze or Breeze or Breezy at Briz underscore JDS on Instagram. If you are, if you're here, throw a thumbs up or let us know you're in the chat. This will be the last song. There you are. I see you. All right, cool, perfect. I don't know if it's Briz or Breezy or what. Let us know how to say it correctly. All right, so just as this is Honest Music from the UK, so let's check it out. We'll get this downloaded and thrown in Pro Tools. Give it a listen, get some feedback. Looks like a master. All right, bet. Let's play this from the top. Let's make sure this is all chill.
Yo, overbooked, underrated, the shit got me losing my patience. I'm losing the airs with the graces, I couldn't care less. I said fuck with the famous, said this is my time and I'm done being gracious. Finger to the sky screaming fuck with the pagans. JDS gang about to be a sensation. My foot through the floor, that's with no hesitation. Fuck all your opinions, I'm set and I'm shameless. I love it when they count me out, trying to stay 10 planted and duck the clout. Will they be making noise when my shit gets loud? Would they still face front or would they cut the sound? They ain't got time and you can't catch me slipping. The amount of soul I done tipped in. My team about to be a whole heap as I can call these living sweet. That's a whole heap of Tiptons. This pen that I'm gripping ain't just ink that is dipped in. Bigger pictures and I paint them with vision. Take time when you book me on the show, dance done, take the main ass position. Listen, welcome to a grown man's hell where you're fat with ambition and it's pain as though. Forgot who I was, then regained myself. You ain't know, I'm the one who went and trained Denzel. Look, you're running out of time to talk to me nice. We headed for heights. I've been the guy, I've been the one from day. I'll make 'em go insane. I don't say this to conversate. You think you do, but you can't relate. No, you can't relate. Do this shit for sport, for the fun of it. But I'm down for everything that come with it. Live in these pocket shit, I can't miss no skips. I'm addicted to racks like O'Sullivan. They say I'm nice, I forget the meaning. It ain't love, drop you straight if you're overreaching. Trying to Mayfield, I'm getting kinda comfortable. Still hustle hard, Kevin Hart, I'm irresponsible. Step too big to be stubbing toes. The grind got me jet lag, they think I'm slow. Only chat my name, talking future goal. I've been a first person shooter, future knows. Listen, this an insane kind of living. If I don't like the cards, I won't play what I'm given. This hair's mine, I'll be damned if I let it go. In control, can't let it goes like I never did it. You're running out of time to talk to me nice. We headed for heights. I've been the guy, I've been the one from day. I'll make 'em go insane. I don't say this to conversate. You think you do, but you can't relate. No, you can't relate. I've been the guy from day. I'll soon make 'em go insane. I don't say this to compensate. You think you do, but you can't relate. No, you can't relate. Hey yo, Twin 2. You're a
I don't know if that's a tag at the end or not, but if that's a tag, that's one of the most fire tags I've ever heard. Super fire song. I fuck with it. The vocals sound good. I think the performance, everything is fire. The bass is like way too loud. You can hear like at certain moments when your voice comes in, like it's getting squashed and like pushed down by the bass being so loud. I tried to pull out this note at like 64 hertz. It helped a little bit, but this is also right where the kick is sitting, which somehow pulling this out still, the kick was still knocking. So I feel like the low end is just crazy loud. And then to like compensate for the loud low end, there's a lot of top end boosted in the beat. So I did some like cut over here for the beat at like 7K for like hi-hats and stuff. I don't know if this is like a 2-track beat that you recorded to, or if you had stems or whatever when it was mixed and all of that. The song itself, like the performance as an artist, everything's super fire. I love UK music. Worked on some cool UK music as well. Some of the big guys out there, and so I like the performance. Like the artist performance is amazing. But yeah, it sounds like it could be like, I mean, I don't know if you had stems or not. It sounds like it could be a 2-track. Just by the way the low end and the top end sounds. Also, another thing that I see in producers, some producers are really good at mixing and they know what they want. Some producers are making good beats and then they want to try to mix them. And usually, if you're not super experienced with mixing or haven't like dove into all of like the under the hood stuff with mixing, you'll run into this sometimes. It's what we call a smile curve. And I guess here, let me show you on a different EQ what I mean by that. But a smile curve basically means that you're boosting the lows and the highs a bunch. So imagine if you had, like this. And let's just change this to a high shelf. All right, so imagine if you had something like this. It looks like a smile. So this is the smile curve. It's where the low end is boosted a bunch, and then the top end is boosted a bunch, and then the middle is just flat where it's at. I feel like some producers and stuff do this to try to like quote unquote leave space for the vocals because they occupy a lot of this mid range. Um, but in doing so, you might run into some of these issues where the low end will push the vocals down no matter what you do, because the low end is just too aggressive and too dominant. It's always the loudest thing in the mix in bass heavy music. So when you boost it even more, you'll start hearing the clamp down of like the limiter and stuff. And if it's so loud that the limiter can't even get down to where the vocals are, then they just sound like garbled a little bit underneath the bass. And then to compensate for the boosted low end, you'll go and boost the top end to try to balance it out, but then you leave the whole mid range left alone. And I think it's a common misconception where like people think when you have like when you boost the bass or when you boost the air bands that you're getting perceived volume, but actually the mid range is where most of the perceived volume is. So if your low end and your top end is way louder than the mid range, then when you get it mastered and it goes to DSPs, it's going to sound quieter perceivably than other songs. And also, if your low end is too loud compared to like your vocals or anything that's in the mid range, you're going to get a quieter master, because you're going to hit with your low end being so loud. You're gonna once you start hearing the limiters and things clamping down on the bass and feeling squashed, which you don't want, you won't have been able to pull out as much volume as you would if the mix was balanced a little better. Um, so yeah, I would just, if it's a 2-track, get the stems, mix the beat with your vocals. I like the vocal mix. I'm not mad at the vocal mix. There's parts where it's kind of hard to hear the vocal mix just because of like how the beat mix is. You can also see like in the waveform, like this is just straight bricked. Ali would call this a hot dog. But yeah, this is just straight bricked. So this whole section right here, there's no transients because the bass is so loud that it's covering everything. So there's no transients, which transients help create depth in your mix. Like short spurts of volume are perceived as louder to the human ears. So when you start cutting those out, you actually end up sounding quieter, and then less dynamic. So it kind of takes away from the emotion. It kind of feels just like a big wall of sound. But mainly with the bass being that loud, it's hard to understand your vocals when the bass is too loud and getting clamped down. So yeah, I would try to get the track outs if you don't have them already and rework that, or if you do have the track outs, I would bring the bass down a bunch, or if there's like a EQ you have on the tube bus that's going crazy, something like this where you're boosting lows and highs, maybe revisit that. Beyond that, the frequency I was hearing in the bass that was just like overwhelming was this 64 hertz. Um, I feel like when I hear this frequency, that made me want to pull this out is you could hear the bass getting squashed. So I wouldn't necessarily make this cut in your mix and move on. I would re-level your mix and then see if that's still an issue, and maybe just focus to see if this frequency is still a little too prominent. Otherwise, the hi-hat from that boost in the top end sounds a little harsh, a little bright. So I pulled this out. But I feel like really just rebalancing your mix levels wise is probably going to do a lot more than just doing these little EQ cuts. This one is for the little snare or rim that comes in that acts as the snare. I love the attack and the punchiness on it. It's just a little harsh on the eardrums a little bit. So I wouldn't pull it out too much, but just to where you retain that snap that sounds really good, but to where it's not necessarily hurting your listeners' eardrums. A big thing is replayability. If you if you boost a bunch of top end thinking that your song's going to sound louder or better or whatever it is, your listeners are only going to be able to listen to it like once, and then their ears are going to hurt or feel like, you know, they've been exhausted, and they're going to have to take a break from listening to music in general, or just switch to somebody else that has a more clean mix that's easier on their ears. So just keep that in mind on replayability stuff when you're mixing stuff as well. But yeah, song is tight. Song is tight. Just need to clean up the mix, get the beat stems, all of that. TG, I see you said slide plugin over. I don't know which plugin you were talking about, but if it's just this Pro Q, there's like a delay on the screen, so I have to wait till it pops up to see where it's at. But once it pops up, we'll see where you're at on here. But I think if we push this like right about here, you should see everything. So I'll leave that for a minute in case you want to see what it was. But yeah, it's just and to be honest, like this is just what I was doing to try to make it a little more make the listenability better. But in reality, I think it's just like a smile curve that's on the beat mix itself, or maybe even on the full song. I don't know in the masters, but yeah, low end and top end is boosted a bunch, and then the mid range is pretty quiet. So yeah, I left this up for a minute. I don't know if you were trying to grab, you know, settings or see what these frequencies were, but they were 64 hertz, 1100, and 7300. But yeah, overall great week again. It was cool to get I know we get a lot of hip hop stuff. It was cool to get some rock stuff and some pop, like electronic sounding stuff in here. Shout out to Werewaves for playing the dope song, but also getting the stream shut down. Good to see you on Sony. Congrats on that. We did get back up, so we're all good. So yeah, we'll be back next week. We're only doing an hour today. I'm a little under the weather, and I have a session to get to. So yeah, we're gonna do an hour today. I know we did 2 hours last week with our special guest. We'll try to extend it 2 hours again. We extended it because we had a guest on, and we'll try to get some more guests to come in future shows and stuff. I think it's always fun to have a couple different opinions from engineers, or bounce things off different people to kind of see maybe you're hearing something I'm not hearing. Especially with Shane last week, he was in his own studio and I'm over here, so different speakers, different headphones, different everything. So it's always nice to hear. You know, when I mix, I check on a bunch of different headphones and different speaker systems to take notes. So we'll try to get more guests on, extend shows to a couple hours. But yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back next week. Every Monday we're back. We'll be at 4 p.m. Pacific time. That's 7 p.m. Eastern time. And we usually do an hour. But like I said, I'll try to extend some shows to 2 hours and have some more guests on for us and things. Also, feel free to shoot. You know, you can shoot me a DM or engineers or whichever. If you have any, you know, ideas, thoughts, or anything about the stream, anything that you want to see added or anything like that, definitely feel free to shoot those in. We're always trying to create a better experience for y'all. It's a big community initiative trying to lift up, you know, up and coming engineers and maybe connect them with some of these artists. And also I'm an avid music listener. I'm always looking for up and coming artists to work with and things like that. So it's fun for me to hear some of these songs, you know, before these people blow up or have illustrious careers. So yeah, appreciate all the love. Appreciate everybody that submitted. We'll be back next week. Get your submissions in at 4 p.m. next week. The earlier you submit, the better, just because a lot of submissions come in, especially once the live starts. There's a lot of submissions that flood in after that. So if you're trying to increase your chances of being reviewed, try to get them in at 4 or as close to 4 as possible. Also, make sure you're in the chat. There's a couple people that have submitted over the past couple weeks and been, you know, called on in one of the first 5 selections, and they just weren't available in the chat, so we moved on. So just make sure when you do submit that you're here in the chat so that when we call you out, you can tell us you're here so we can review your song. But yeah, had a blast as usual. And like I said, I'd love to hear any feedback from you guys. So feel free to DM me on Instagram. My Instagram is curtis.circuit.by. Let me just post this in here. In case y'all want to hit me up. Or you could have the engineer's Instagram as well. But yeah, would love to hear feedback on on how, you know, maybe things we could add or anything we can improve on the stream. Iona, I see your comment. Multiple genres. We did go through some pop EDM and some rock and some hip hop and all of that today. We don't sort them by genres because we don't know what your song is until we download it. So it's really just first come, first serve. We start taking submissions at 4 on the day of the stream. So just get in as early as you can. I would love to see more genres on here as well. But just to keep everything fair, yeah, we just do first come, first serve. Also, with all the submissions coming in live, there's no way to really review the songs before we select them. But yeah, I always love hearing different genres as well. And Eric, I see you on here. Yeah, it would be cool to do a playlist. The only thing with the playlist is a lot of these songs aren't released. So to like play them on engineers before they're released is kind of iffy. So yeah, if there's a way, you know, we could figure that out. Maybe if there's release tracks or if any of these tracks get done through engineers and get completed, maybe there's a way we could try to incorporate something like that. But we can look into that. But otherwise, yeah, send any feedback or anything like that into engineers DMs or into my personal DM, whatever you like. And we hope to see y'all next week and appreciate y'all coming back out. Oh, Kemi, I see you. Yeah, I mean, we play them already, but yeah, I could, I mean, shit, we could even vote on them if we wanted to. We could put a poll up for like the songs and see whose favorites were at the end of the stream. I'm not mad at that. Let me look into that and see how I could throw that together. But yeah, that would be tight. I like that idea. I think, especially if y'all are going to be able to vote on it and stuff, I think that's super fire. I think, yeah, let me figure out how to incorporate that. But yeah, I think if we just like add a poll, let me see. Yeah, I think if there's a way I could add a poll into the chats. The only thing is that we have YouTube, Twitch, and IG, so it might be kind of difficult to like decide based on votes. But I guess we could look at the votes, and at least either way, at least we have like the top 3 up there. I'm sure we'll be able to figure it out between the two. But yeah, keep the feedback coming. Love to see the participation and everybody every week. Hope to see you next week. And yeah, great songs, great mixes, and we'll see you next week. Thanks, y'all.